Hello and welcome. I'm Ijoma Onyaso. Tonight, former governor of Lagos State, Bola Tinubu, raises questions on Nigeria's development quest, says industrialization of the country must go beyond lip service. Participants at the 6th ZIC lecture in Oka highlight ways of preserving Nigeria's unity, harp on the need to quickly access the nation's structural challenges and address them. Federal High Court Abuja makes U-turn on order to freeze of bank accounts not linked to BVN, says decision produced awkward and unfortunate results. And Zimbabwe's opposition demands resignation of President Robert Mugabe as talks to resolve leadership crisis continue.
On business news tonight, economists at Renaissance Capital expect Nigeria's Central Bank Monetary Policy Committee to cut interest rates by March 2018.
And comeback king on sports tonight, Roger Federer edges past Marin Cilic to maintain his unbeaten run at the ATP World Tour Finals in London.
And from Abuja, some of the 169 indigents of Edo State recently deported from Libya recount ordeal on arrival in Benin City, the Edo State capital.
We begin with the president's scorecard in the last 2 years, as contained in a book published by his media team and presented by the national leader of his party, Chief Bola Tinubu. The former governor of Lagos State, who was the keynote speaker at the presentation of the president's midterm scorecard, says the Buhari administration has recorded remarkable progress since it came on board. Our correspondent Ibrahim Adra reports.
It's the presentation of a 348-page book, authored by President Buhari's media team with the active collaboration of the Buhari Media Support Group. A midterm scorecard for the APC government. The occasion attracted the top echelon of the party. In 2.5 years, the book recorded what could be the A to Z of the government's achievement. For the vice president and the book reviewer, the party has reasons to thump its chest.
Productivity in the agricultural sector is at an all-time high. Rice imports have dropped by 70%, and we are fast becoming one of the largest producers of paddy rice in the world.
That despite those who are daily trying to muddy the waters, this administration has, through fidelity to discipline, determination and transparency, recorded landmark achievements that are putting our country on the path of sustainable growth.
The party chairman describes the book as moral booster with incontrovertible and verifiable facts. The keynote speaker and a chieftain of the ruling party delivered a long address. In it, he scores the administration and the president high on many fronts. He, however, proffers some observations.
No populous nation has ever attained prosperity without first establishing a robust industrial capacity. Our National Industrial Revolution Plan must be more than mere words of the past. It must be refined and implemented with a laser-like focus. Just as the private sector may partner with government on public endeavors, governments must guide and support the private sector into new areas of industry and production.
When the president took the podium, he thanked all Nigerians, giving assurances that all will be well.
I can only repay you by resolving to work with every ounce of my energy to protect your interests. I would, at the same time, like to assure all Nigerians of my commitment to improve security, 2, fight corruption, and 3, restructuring the economy.
There were goodwill messages by the Speaker of the House of Representatives and Chairman of the Governors Forum, amongst others. The book, titled Making Steady Sustainable Progress for Nigeria's Peace, is co-authored by Mrs. Femi Adesina, Garba Shehu and Laula Konde, all media aides in the presidency. The book is said to be printed at no cost to the government and is to be distributed free to all Nigerians. From the presidential villa in Abuja, Ibrahim Adra, Channels Television News.
Now let's take a look at the president's scorecard as highlighted in the book. And it starts with security, and the book says the Buhari government has been severely decimated Boko Haram. Let's also look at the fact that next is power supply for this year. And the book shows that they've achieved 6,619 capacity, 6,700 transmission, and 4,600 distribution level. On infrastructure, the book shows that the government has spent 198 billion on roads, 91 billion on power, and 71 billion on housing. On the economy, the Buhari government has taken Nigeria out of recession, and the government has made $500 million investment in sovereign wealth fund and 1.2 trillion naira investment in capital projects in 2016. Other successes recorded in the book include ease of doing business, war and corruption, social investment, power, and the conditional cash transfer. To discuss the president's midterm scorecard, I'm now being joined on the news at 10 by a legal practitioner and policy analyst, Dr. West Idahosa. He joins me from Abuja. Thanks a lot for joining us on the news at 10.
Thank you very much.
Now, let's start off with security. I mean, we're looking at the president's scorecard as highlighted in that book today. Let me draw your attention to what it says about Boko Haram being severely decimated. Well, some don't agree, and they'd say that those attacks have continued. And what do you say?
Well, I think there's been some progress in that direction, not entirely the way it has been painted by the aides of the president. We can say with all sincerity that progress has been made. But a lot more work needs to be done in that direction, because in the last couple of months, we have witnessed what I would consider resurgence. The rebate of those attacks is now on the increase, and there is a need to quickly put an end to that. A lot of persons have died in the last couple of months, and what it means is that they need to review their strategy at this point in time. So some credit, but not so sweeping credit as the presidential aides sought to portray as far as Boko Haram is concerned.
Well, another major talking point in that book is power. They're talking about capacity, transmission, and distribution, all showing improvement. Do you agree with that assessment, seeing that is a major issue for Nigerians at the moment, with even some calling for the power minister or the ministry to be split? What do you think?
Well, the problem is that there is no noticeable improvement in that area. It's more semantics, because you look at the life pattern of the Nigerian people, it's typically the same. It's more like saying 6 and half a dozen. It is some incremental addition to the national power grid, which does not seem to percolate down the living pattern of the Nigerian nation. And it's an irony that so many years after the struggle to give electricity to the Nigerian people, we are still dealing with about 6,000 plus megawatts for a country of about 182 million people. That's not good enough, and I think at this point the government may need to look at alternative methods to deal with this problem. It's a national draconian issue, and it has consumed so much capacity and diminished the positivity in many Nigerians. So it's a problem that the government must think outside the box to deal with.
Yeah, another key issue is the economy, because we're just looking at all the different areas where they've scored themselves pretty well, and they've talked about the exit from the recession as one of the biggest achievements there. But in real terms, critics say that that is more of a paper exit, and it hasn't really trickled down to the lives of the average Nigerian. That's often the argument that you hear. Did you agree?
Well, I think the exit is something that has been speculated by an agency of government. You must understand that, and as many have observed, there is no direct impact on the Nigerian people. The living standards are still abysmally low. The cost is still high. Inflation is still over 17%, and there's a pain everywhere. So I will say that recession should be the exit from the recession should be consolidated in such a way that it can trickle down, create employment for more people, and overall improve the living standards. There are so many people dying in Nigeria from ailments as elementary as malaria and infant mortality. So we have to do more work than just exiting on paper from a recessional problem.
And another point is the war on corruption. That's a controversial one. Many have talked about the form it's taking, the structure, from those who are being prosecuted to how the different monies are being kept, seeing that some of them are in different currencies. Would you say that that should be something that should be put as an achievement, the war on corruption?
Well, initially, there was momentum when this war started. There was hope that, yes, the solution has come. But I think that over the period, the way the war had been prosecuted had left much to be desired. There are many who believe that it was a war largely targeted at the opposition. There are still quite a number who believe that it's a war targeted at those who do not have enough connection or who do not have opportunity to parade the corridors of power. But significantly, one can say that we have seen an increase in the number of prosecutions and convictions secured. How many of them will stand the test of appeal is a different thing entirely. But what we can say categorically is that the nature of the war is such that it is not aggressive enough and it is not diverse enough. You cannot deal with purely political targets, politically exposed persons, and leave the civil service or public service, so to speak, which is largely, in my own opinion, the base, foundation, and root of corruption in the circumstances without showing much impact in that area. Not enough public servants are being tried, not enough of them have been used as examples as a purification of the public service system in Nigeria. That's a big problem.
All right, legal practitioner and policy analyst Dr. Wesley Dahusa, thanks for sharing your thoughts on the news at 10 tonight. The restructuring narrative is again a topical issue as some national leaders, government officials and traditional rulers spoke on the need for the country to embrace the practice of true federalism at the 6th ZIC lecture series. The annual event is set aside to reflect on the legacies and political beliefs of Nigeria's first president, Nnamdi Azikiwe. This year, participants are discussing the political economy of restructuring Nigeria, with special focus on the problems and prospects.
Irrespective of the side of the political and social divide we may belong, we all share a common responsibility as leaders and ordinary people to advance and preserve the unity and corporate existence of Nigeria, which for me is the greatest honor we can ever give to the memory of the great Zik of Africa. Our diversity remains the abiding source of our collective strength and resilience. However, our diversity is under severe stress and even becoming rather a threat to our collective progress because of embedded fault lines in the existing political and economic structures of the country. The choice before us, therefore, is to build inclusive, equitable, and participative political and economic systems where every one of our citizens justly benefits from the process of democracy.
Our present constitution is not a touch on us. The law faculty here will understand what I mean. It was not written by the people of Nigeria. It was not approved by a national referendum. The federal government became enormously powerful, taking over mining rights, construction of interstate highways, major educational establishments, rail and water transportation, power, and several infrastructural responsibilities previously undertaken by the regions. Competition for the control of the federal government became intense and corrupted our electoral system.